Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sara's View of Life. I am your host, Sara Troy. Well, I asked people what they would like me to talk about, and somebody has just said climate change. Well, if you do follow me here on Self-Discovery Radio, you know I have a channel called Eco Solutions. And under these channels, this is where we interview people who are making a global difference. And I'm just going to talk about a couple of the people and what they're doing, because I'm encouraging you to go to that channel and listen to some of their shows, hear what it is they're doing, how we can be a part of it, and just how togetherness, everybody stepping up, doing a little bit can make a difference. We cannot ignore the fact that this earth, no matter what the argument is, global warming is a hoax, or this is a hoax, or that is a hoax, we cannot ignore that this planet is in trouble because of us humans. Yes, there are the natural elements that are going on, the lateral cycle of the earth, but we're escalating things at such a rate that we are doing a great deal of damage. How do you think a planet can take nuclear bombs being set off or tested? What do you think that does to the earth? What about the fracking, where they go underground for the oil, the damage that it's doing, which of course it's not happening, folks, as oil comes up, completely consumes neighborhoods, burst mains, things run into the waters, out into the oceans, into the rivers, killing the animals. Let us not forget the industries that are polluting the waters and killing all the animals and the life. Let us not forget the oceans and what is in there, all the plastic that is there, killing our beautiful mammals, contaminating all our fish now that you are eating. We have to face that there is some catastrophic change going on in the world, and we are contributing a great deal to it. Things like fracking, things like the forests that we're pillaging, there's a contamination of our waters. There's so much that we are doing. So what are the solutions? What can we do that would change things? Well, with Eco Solutions channel that I started because I wanted to actually spotlight and highlight some of the people making a difference, it's that conscious change first. First and foremost, we have to have that conscious mind change. We have to realize that this planet is in trouble because of us human beings. Yes, as I said, I know there's the natural order of things that is happening, and that is going to happen despite whether we're here or not. But we also have to realize that we are massive contributors to things of destruction here. I know we don't mean to. We don't set out to destroy the planet that is hosting us, but it is what is happening. So how can we make those changes? First and foremost, we step into that consciousness, that awareness that the changes need to be met and that we can meet them and that we can shift and reset and redirect. So climate change. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to talk to the ecological changes that are happening. I'm just going to talk to the people that have decided to come up with some solutions. We have Robert Orr Williams, a former beach boy who has come up along with scientists a beautiful water project. And this water project is one that actually literally raises the consciousness of everything that it touches within us human beings and the things that it grows, kind of resets that DNA, takes things back to its original source, its original connection. He also has a beautiful app on a phone that can raise the frequency of the people within its vicinity. I'm not going to talk to the science of it. I'm going to invite you, because here on the posting, you're going to see the links to all of these shows where they actually talk about the technology themselves. And I invite you, please, to watch them or listen to them, because you'll see just how awesome they are and the work that they're doing. We know that we need better quality water. We know that through industry, through atmosphere, through many other things that we are damaging our water. We've changed the structure of it. So many places add fluoride. Fluoride is actually a waste product that was brought about around 60, 70 years ago and is in everything now, and it's really not necessary. There's other additives that they put in there that is changing our molecular structure within our body. Our DNA is changing because of it. And it's not necessarily making us better human beings. Maybe we're becoming mutants and we don't know it, right? What we need to understand about the ecological and the environmental thing is that every single little thing counts. So your habits, stop using plastic. Use the glass jars or go to the porcelain or go to things that could be recycled and reused over and over again. Minimize your type of packaging. Don't buy so much on bulk. Kind of go out and shop 2-3 times a week and get the things that you need that could be used quicker so you don't need to store so much. Pay attention to what you're buying. So much that we see is wrapped in plastic, right? Cardboard, plastic. Well, no, cardboard can be recycled. We can reuse that, but plastic just gets thrown away, gets into the bins, goes into the pits, gets into our waters, birds pick it up. I mean, just it's on and on and on, the destruction of what plastic will do. So how do we change that practice? Well, look to how we can store things in the porcelain containers, in glass jars, in other things that we can use that that will preserve what it is that we need. In my day, we used to have a cold room, and that would be in lieu of the freezer or whatever, but it would also keep foods at certain temperatures so that they didn't go off very quickly. It was also used before fridges came along. Not everybody can have a cold room, but maybe you should look, if you're living in a basement, can you convert a room there that can actually store food at a cooler temperature to make it last longer, it doesn't need to be in sealed tight containers. It could be in something else. We just have to think out of the box, don't we? And we have to look what is available out there that is more ecological, because there are a lot of things, a lot of container type things. It's also when you're going off for your coffee, instead of taking their cups, take your own. Get it refilled. A, you get a discount. B, that's one less cup in the environment, and it's also your way of contributing. It's also your coffee cup. All right, everybody knows it's yours. You know what's going in it. A little bit that counts. You can even do it for takeout food. You can go along for your takeout food and hand over your own container and say, I'd like it in this instead of in something disposable. Little things count. What else can we do? Excuse me. We need to look at the food we're eating. Now, veganism is on the rise. Why? Because it makes sense. We know that we can get our protein from other sources. Many vegetables out there and legumes and beans, etc., have massive amount of protein that we need, and calcium and everything else. We've been conned into believing that it only comes from meat, only comes from the milk and the cheese, and that is not necessarily so. I know it's hard for some people to just say, I'm just to give up meat. But how about this? You give up the farm processed meat. If you look at the manufacturing of animals today, pigs, cows, veal, you name it, it is awful what they're doing. They are taking the calves away from their mothers the moment they're born for the milk, because the milk goes over to the human beings, and for many other reasons that it's heartbreaking to see. Just because our animals do not think that they do not feel love and they do not feel that connection. That is a divine connection that no human being can take away from you. And when we look at the way the animals are stacked together, these tiny little pins where they just eat and produce and get fattened up. And we also look at how much water is actually used in maintaining the growth of these manufactured animals. We actually see that it's going to create a water shortage here on this planet. I have a show right there on the Farm Sanctuary where we cover that. And I please invite you to listen to these shows. We have to be aware of what is going on. Just because it's inconvenient, we can't put our head in the sand and say, no, I don't believe this. What you talking about? She's not a scientist. No, I'm not. I'm not. But I am a conscious awareness. I'm not 100% vegan yet. I am vegetarian. I have occasionally eaten some chicken or fish when I'm out because of the availability. It is a process for me, but I've tried to be extremely mindful in everything else that I'm doing. And it is a conscious choice. Do the best you can. Be aware. Ask yourself if you can do better. As a family, sit down. What is it that we can change? How can we change it? The simple act of cooking and preparing a meal together is already raising that consciousness, because now you're bringing about an appreciation for the food. Talk about where the food comes from. Try and buy from your local farmers rather than just the grocery store. And when it comes to waste, do not waste. Leftovers are fantastic. Can recreate a meal tomorrow. And it's how kids learn to be appreciative of the food and just don't think it's churning abundance. They can take it or leave it and they don't care. Talk about the nutrition in the food and the importance of putting certain foods together. Take them to farms, take them to farmers market, take them to the local grocery markets that are going to be in your neighborhood. All of these things are there for a reason, and you can educate them on that and make it a difference. I have my landlady out there right now hauling a whole load of soil because she's planting these beautiful cane trees to protect, give privacy, and etc. And so that's another thing. Look at our gardens. Can we grow something that can produce for us? Can we grow something that we really appreciate the land that we have in? Are we maintaining our gardens? Are we maintaining our properties? Are we maintaining things in a way that we are contributing to that environmental footprint? So also when it comes into shopping, try and stay away from the center aisles at the superstores, the things that are all packaged. Most of them are GMO. They have additives. If you cannot understand the word on the package, you can't pronounce it, generally it means it's some sort of artificial, don't buy it. Try and go to just the produce aisle, organic if you can, please. And also, if you are having to go to the meat, go to the organically sourced meats, the ones that treat their animals humanely and feed them properly and not the mass manufactured. If you can try and steer away from the meat, that would be fantastic. Another way you can do that is start trying some vegan recipes of the vegetables and how to make things like macaroni cheese and even burgers and many other beautiful things, poutine sauce, etc., cheeses. They're all easily made if you can follow a recipe. There, I have Danielle Bossoon here that has done some beautiful recipes, created a beautiful book, Time for Change, and she talks about vegan diets and foods and recipes, and some of them are absolutely yummy. If you put more of those on the plate, with a less of the meat, you will actually find they'll prefer that over time instead of the meat. And we've got Richard Branson right now, who is putting out vegan meats and trying to create that worldwide. It is happening. We have to open our eyes and open our minds to pay attention to what is going on. Google it in your area. Where are the vegan butchers? Where are vegan recipes? What can you use in placement of something else? And just look at how you can be a part of it. We can't keep ignoring it and turning the other cheek. I don't see it. What we have to do is turn around and pay attention. The fact that we are the change that we seek. Now we know governments are the last ones to do the change. And this is why we have Polly Higgins from England, a lawyer who's created a law called ecocide. And it is protection of the earth from human beings who are knowingly doing things that harm the planet and thus harm human beings. This law will be going into place soon globally, and many countries are signing up right now. And what it does, it criminalizes the act of harmfully hurting the planet. And instead of organizations just paying a fine and carrying on as usual, it will go after the CEOs. It will go after the people at the top, and they will have to face crimes, criminal prison times if they do not comply. What this is forcing these industries to do is to change from things like coal and oil and fracking and going into more the solar, the wind, and other alternatives that are abundant. Look at my Rennie Davis show with the Colorado Showcase and look at some of the technologies that he has there. There are many technologies that are being put out. Look at the passive homes that I have the show on that. They've been around for 40 years. They're so much more ecological. You don't need a furnace. All right. Over time, it's going to cost you so much cheaper to heat your house, to cool your house. It's a more solidified house. It's less leaky of air and energy, and it's going to be around more sustainable for a long time. Tiny houses, modular housing, honeycombed housing that I have with Christopher Bauer this week. There are all of these things. There are solutions that people are coming up with, and what we need to do is embrace and nurture them. And there's Murbil from India, who's a reporter, that is reporting on technologies that are happening over in India due to the need. When there is a need, an innovation will be provided. If we could only open our eyes to the things that are happening in the world and realize we don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to sacrifice the things that we want or need. What we do have to do is actually change them into different packaging, using different energy sources, and being more aware of the waste and of the consumerism. Now, consumerism is what's killing us in this planet. We've been told more is better. Go out and buy more. You need more. Get more. And what we're realizing is that we're rape and pillaging the planet, and we cannot keep up with it. The earth cannot keep up with our needs. And most of that is gluttony. We don't need it. Seriously, folks, look at everything you have, your wardrobe, the amount of food that you buy that you waste, materials and everything you have in your house. Do you use them? Are they really productive for you? Did they serve a purpose? Or did you just buy them because you saw it ad or you felt like you needed it at the time? You've never worn the outfit, or you don't use that next gadget. Pay attention to that. Donate some of your stuff to people who haven't got anything, and recycle it, give it another home, and really start looking at your life, at minimizing it to really what you do need, as opposed to what you think or thought you need, or what you were told by social media and advertising that you had to have. Because if we do not downsize our lives and stop buying and consuming at the rate that we're doing, which also equals waste, then we are just going to have a planet that cannot sustain us. And for all the movies that have us going to other planets, it doesn't work that way, folks. If you want to have your value of life, if you want this planet to be here for the next generation and the generation after that, we need to step up now. So Eco Solutions is something I started to cover the consciousness of what is being done. It's not on the technical side. I hope to have a host one day that can come in and actually interview people on the technical side of things. I'm not equipped to do that. But there's Energym University, Bill Sorowski, who started this university of wonderful teachings of mentors who are in the ecological world, teaching the students. And it's wonderful to see that, because we learn from people who have done or are doing. We learn better than we do done just from a textbook, or things that were done long ago. Speak to the people who are in the process of doing, and ignite that spark in a student to believe they can too, and they can contribute, and what is it that's in them that they can do. And this is how that knowledge is shared. We're seeing so many more online universities coming up for the fact that it brings people from around the world to one place, igniting that imagination and the solutions for tomorrow, because there are already so many solutions out there, folks. We just don't know about them, because do you hear about it on the media? Or social media can be pretty conscious about it and putting it out. Don't just click over it. Pay attention. Have a look at it. What is it that they're offering? What is it they're trying to show you that you can change to, that can be more environmentally friendly? Do not wait for your governments. I promise you, they'll be the last ones to join in. It's only when it becomes a criminal thing that even presidents can be held accountable that we will see those changes. All the people that I've interviewed that are out making a change, or ordinary citizens that saw a need and that stepped up to create something to happen. So we can be that wonderful, ordinary, extraordinary citizen that decides to do our bit. Take a look at your home, downsize. Take a look at your shopping habits. Buy what you need. Buy locally sourced. Buy things that aren't in plastic. Take in your own containers, your own bags, and supporting those local farmers, demanding that there is organic, demanding that there is no GMO foods, generally modified foods, just letting people know, because let's face it, folks, the only reason they're in power is because our dollar puts them in power. If we stop buying those foods and we demand for holistic, organic, locally sourced, and environmentally friendly and humanely produced foods, they're going to have to change their ways. And do not think that, oh, we're not going to have any energy if the coal mines stop or if the oil stops. There are plenty of technologies out there that can be switched over very, very quickly and power this world in a way that is not so rape and pillaging it. All I ask is that you open up your mind to what is out there. All I ask is you look at some of these shows here under Eco Solutions. Just pay attention to what some of the people are doing. It goes down from conscious veganism to the foods that we eat and how we prepare them, to technologies that are out there, the water, the solar blinds, the passive housing, the tiny housing, the Colorado Showcase and all that they have there, the hemp that is healing, the water that can actually make water out of a no atmosphere. So many ingenious things that are happening. All we have to do is just simply open up our minds and be aware and listen, and then ask ourselves, what can we contribute? I don't care if it's only that much, because that much will lead to that much and that much. I'm not asking you to come up with an ingenious invention. I'm asking you to change your ways, to shift your perspective, to pay more attention, and to ask yourself, what can I do to change? What can I do to contribute? What can I do to embrace tomorrow's world and not just mindedly taking in today? This is not an attack on anyone. This is a wake up. I want you to step into that consciousness of realizing what you can do. Climate change is real. It is very much man inspired, because man keeps doing things like nuclear bombs, like the plastics in the oceans, like the GMOs and all the pesticides and chemicals that are going into things. You cannot keep doing that without the ripple effect of changes. We don't want to poison our oceans. We don't want to poison our land. We don't want to poison our air. We do not want to poison our food. We do not want to poison our children. And we have to realize we're doing that. The greed of the corporations, the corruption of the governments has to stop. And the only way it's going to stop if each and every one of us steps up and changes our practices and our ways, because don't forget, money talks for them. And if our money is going elsewhere, they're going to have to change their ways. So what can you do? Sit down with your family, your friends, and say, okay, I want to make a change. Yeah, maybe jumping into veganism right now is a bit drastic for you. Maybe organic, you can go that way. Is it a little more? Yes, but you're going to eat less, aren't you? Because you're going to eat healthier. You're going to feel less hungry because you're not eating those empty calories or those chemicalized foods that leave you wanting more. You're going to save on your health bill because you're not going to be needing to subsidize your health because of all the things that you're taking in and the environment, in your foods, in your daily life, in the stress that it builds up, because there's so much data on what we're eating, our atmospheric air, the water, and how it's hurting our bodies. And so we want you around. We want you to be part of solution. We want you and your children to be here tomorrow on this beautiful planet, because there's still so much beauty here, but we do need to step up and do our part. So all I ask is pay attention to some of these shows on Eco Solutions, on selfdiscoveryradio.com, and come and have a look what we've got. Come and have a look at who is making a difference. And if you know somebody who has an innovation, a technology, a consciousness that can change it, please have them sent over to me. info@selfdiscoveryradio.com. info@selfdiscoveryradio.com. I'm Sara Troy. I'm inviting you to do your bit. And whatever your bit is, you start off small, you'll notice how it will grow and it will escalate. And the next thing you know, you're over there and you're looking back and go, that really wasn't so hard. Just take the first step, okay? Thanks, folks. Bye for now. For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.